Good afternoon. How are you today? Well, as part of the Thomas Jefferson Weather Report, we're at 26 degrees, but no wind. And so that makes it very different. It makes it much more comfortable. It may sound silly to some people that never have a temperature go below 60, but that's the way it is here. I have to watch the ground carefully because some of the snow remains. Some of the road is bare, and some of the road has got ice. So I fell once yesterday, like falling on a cloud, and it was something like that because, well, I don't know, it was at an angle and it was soft. And I spent all those years in martial arts in which we spend all the time falling in different ways. But you can fall and get hurt, I'm well aware of that, and I seek not to fall because I think I can, but because you never know what it's going to be like. And you follow that same rule yourself. And if you're very sensitive in terms of older hips and legs and things like that, then wait a day or so, because this will all be gone. In terms of what's going on that's worth commenting on, even as I'm walking now, Trump is acting like a bad boy. No surprise there. But by his standards, it's amateurish, mob-like, impertinent, contemptuous. He's before Judge Kaplan, and the case is the defamation case involving Ms. Carroll, in which he assaulted her without her consent and defamed her subsequently. And she's seeking an additional $10 million to the $5 million that she already has from the earlier case against Trump. And Trump is making loud motions at counsel table that the jury can hear and that others in the room can hear and that Ms. Carroll's counsel can hear. And the court has warned him to stop this. And he's exchanged words with the judge in court. And Judge Kaplan heard him say to him in court, "You can't control yourself," said the judge. And in response, he called the judge a nasty guy. Now, I don't think he did that in person. I think he did that outside at one of the breaks. This is a man that deserves the highest penalties, the most confinement, and the most expensive sanctions that the law can construct, because he is a man without rules. He is a sloppy man in terms of ethics and conduct, in terms of crimes, and in terms of usurping the structure that has been what America looks to as its definition, and he looks to compromise that as well. So, fitting with this, among his advisors is Roger Stone, whom it's alleged that in 2020, before the election, he was talking about assassinating certain Democrats. Swalwell was one, you may remember. He was very active and on point about his comments. And then, of course, he also wanted to attack the chairman of the Judiciary Committee, Nadler, who is, well, he's feisty, but he's very careful to keep it lawful and pertinent and so forth. And that was a difficult period he went through. And he showed a lot of restraint. So, but Roger Stone, you know, these guys don't care about anything. The one fly in the ointment that I don't understand, and it is fear speaking when you must lead for others. I've always thought defense counsel who are upset themselves at an argument in a brief don't appreciate that it's not about them, it's not about me. It's about the client and getting upset on behalf of the client, but then thinking how one can serve the client, you know, up to and including agreeing to what the opposition says, but that's not usually my role. It is to improve things up to and including the dismissal of civil or criminal charges. And that's why how you choose to be involved in a case is very important, because are you able to live with the results? And Vice President Harris was saying she's afraid that Trump might get elected. You don't win a battle with an attitude that you may lose. I don't mean you're ridiculous about it, that you ignore the challenge, but you take it on, you prepare it. There was a friend of mine who thought I was too optimistic, and this is going back a couple of years now, and I was talking about what's going on with Trump, and I said, my view is I am critical, I am alert, I live in the real world, so I look for the ray of sunshine that can lead us to victory. And true, there might never be one, but I've never found it to be true in my lifetime. There are possibilities that one can use, and real ones that can make a difference. And you should seek those out, and you should discipline yourself not to feel bad because you have a worthy cause to fight, but to feel emboldened to fight even harder for what matters. In a case, political, in a courtroom, and in your own personal life. Things are worth fighting for, and that's what we should do. And, why anybody thinks Iowa is important in these elections is beyond me. I don't want to be unfair to Iowa, but you're not the nation. You don't even sound like the nation. I mean, in its diversity. You have a hugely intolerant group of voters there who are moved by a Christian right movement that doesn't know what Christ was about, or what the Christians are supposed to believe, or what the Bible says, or what canon law is, or just go down the line. They're interested in discrimination. They're interested in hurt. They're interested in power. And they're not interested in what I consider the Christian values, starting with love thy neighbor as thyself. So, but here's another thing. Why wasn't the election in Iowa reported that, yeah, Trump got 51%, which means 49% don't want him? That's your presidential nominee? And you got those numbers in a state that, well, it speaks for itself. In the category of other mistakes, in my opinion, is the Houthi thing is getting away from us. That is our view as Americans under the direction of Biden to be fighting with the Houthis, who are intercepting commercial shipping going to Israel. And in this context, it appears that we're not discouraging them. So what are we going to do? Are we going to escalate? And exactly how? And to what extent? And how far inland? And so on. Another thing that we can't ignore is that Iran and Iraq have been struck in Pakistan. Let me get this right. Iran has been striking into Pakistan and Iraq. Excuse me. We could use simplified names in the Middle East. I don't know. We've been through these long enough, you would think it'd be hard to forget it. So I'm going to put it off on the 26-degree temperature that's affecting my ability to have my my brain signal from one part of it to the other. Now, there's also a left-wing movement to curb aid to Israel, and Bernie Sanders is involved in that. So we're getting a little tired, I guess you would say, of the way and manner that the fighting's going on. I don't know why we don't have combating claims of war crimes at The Hague. Presently, we have a question of war crimes against Israel. There are equally disturbing and concerning things that's gone on that involves Hamas in Gaza and in Israel. So, If we could deal with these things more with an even hand, if people cared about what the facts were and the effects were, then we might be in a better place. But reason seems to have been lost with the first shelling on October the 7th by Hamas into Israel. No question it was outrageous. No question it was a war crime, in my opinion. Civilians attacked, women and children, hostages taken of non-combatants, held as hostage to offset the military deficit they suffer as compared to Israel. That's no way to have a world, a planet that claims to seek peace. And the next step after almost every statement of peace is that we're defending ourselves as we blow up and kill all sorts of innocents. Finally, sort of out of step is the ongoing evidence, every day something, about global warming, which is a funny thing to talk about when we're cold right now in America, but it is a function of global warming. But the latest story that strikes me is how a resort in Kashmir that normally has snow this time of the year has none. And I'll try to enclose a picture of that. So it's chilly and it's beautiful. And I hope to talk to you again tomorrow, weather permitting. And so I say goodbye to you from my cathedral of trees. Ever beautiful. All the best. Bye-bye.